Hey, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. I've got a little bit of button stuff to talk to you about, and as someone requested, they want to see some of the details of what I'm doing, so I'm going to go ahead and start out in just about full screen. You can still see my beard and everything down in the lower left-hand corner. A few additions, as you can see, might look a little bit different than last time. And then after that, we are going to take a drive in, let's say, how about Nebraska? Yeah. Picking up a load. I think we're going to get an animated or dynamic load pickup with some, I can't remember, soybeans or I can't remember. But we'll get to that in just a second. By the way, if you don't want to know anything about the button box or you don't care, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. Not judging you. Timestamps down in the description. Go ahead and skip to the drive if that is what you're interested in. All right, so let's go ahead and start this off. So a couple things. Last time I mentioned these buttons here. This is just a momentary, push button. And I couldn't get it working, and I figured out how. Basically, there's three prongs. And in the three prongs, the lowest one is your common. That's for your negative. Then your positive, because I'm doing this with an arcade USB encoder. The middle one is your blue wire, which is your power. If blue is your power. I've seen them actually mixed up. White is my negative, goes in the bottom. Blue is in the middle. And then that actually, if you just have them hooked up like that, that actually puts it in the on position. And it always stays on, and you can't do anything about it. What I had to do was I had to run a jumper wire, the white wire, the negative, I had to run from the common to the normally closed. Okay, so white wire or negative, a jumper wire from the common to the negatively to the normally closed, while the blue wire, the positive, was in the middle with the normally open. That got it so that when I pressed the button, something actually happened. And because I did that, I added, so I've got this red one. It appears orange on the video. Trust me, it is red. That one I have hooked up to my hazard lights. The blue one I have for my high beams. And down here, I've got an orange one. And the orange one is actually set currently for cruise control, where this thing was. You can actually see the red glow from the USB encoder coming through. I just took it out. I meant to put it back in. For some reason in my head, I thought I was going to be able to fit this one into that spot. Without thinking, I took it out, and then I just didn't bother to put it back in because I wasn't going to connect it anyway. So we got a few of these push buttons going on. We still got the toggle. I still cannot figure out how to get this toggle switch to light up. If you guys know, please let me know. It's 3 pins. The bottom one is a brass one for common or negative, and the other two are one is power source in, and the other one is to your load. And I have it hooked up in a way that I thought it made sense to me anyway, but it's not working right now. The button works, but not the light. The other thing that we need to kind of talk about, you've already seen my base. You probably haven't seen it in this much detail because I haven't been running full screen. But this is the entire width of the box. This right here is the left side. And instead of it going straight across and having another panel here, once it gets to here, I'm going to make it go at an angle, and it's going to come out like that. So I'm going to have a face here. It's going to be approximately 12 inches. What I'm thinking is, because of the thickness of the box, I'm probably going to have 11 inches of usable space to put a whole bunch of buttons. It is going to not interfere with, you see my second shifter right off camera to the bottom right. It's not going to interfere with that. If it does, then I am going to go ahead and drop it down. To support it, I've got my base here, and I just decided to put these on top of it. But in order for this second compartment to come out here and hang over and not need a support, I am going to use the 3/4 inch drywall with it instead of the 1/2 inch for here. But I'm going to have it spread all over here as well. So all of this piece, basically a square, and then think of it as a triangle coming out here. And so the thicker portion is going to support and hold a lot of it, is what I'm thinking. It's not going to be big gauges. It's going to be buttons like this. And just to let you know, this is where it's easier for me to do it. These are eventually going to be put lower left and lower right. You can kind of see in the lower right hand corner where my finger is here. There's that 2x4. On the bottom of the 2x4 is where these or other boxes are going to be holding all these buttons. It's basically going to be lights, ignition, windows, wipers, things like that. This is just so I don't have to reach over here to the Bravo throttle quadrant and hit the Jake. So that's basically what is going on. The top is going to be one continuous piece across the entire top. It'll push out to here, and I'm just going to do all that all at one time so I can just lift it off and have access to it. So that's going to be pretty simple. But all of this area is going to be, I guess it's going to be kind of dead space. If the panel's like that, coming out to here, then all of my buttons and stuff are going to be back here. Maybe this is where I'm going to put a lot of, I'll have to organize all my stuff, have all my USB encoders and stuff like that. But I also kind of want there to be a little bit of room for airflow. I don't know how hot everything gets with these buttons and stuff and the gauges, but I do want some airflow, and for that reason I'm probably going to keep the entire back side of this. Not that you'll be able to see it when the front is on, but I'll keep the whole back side exposed. So that's what I'm doing. I use some L brackets because this is 1/2-inch plywood, and this is the only part that you can go into plywood and keep it structurally safe, not going into like the ends like that. Like if you go into the end and it's already just plywood, is just sections of layers of wood, that would just split it. So this is going into the top of this plywood base, and it's going into the side of this other piece. So it's holding pretty strong, and I'm pretty happy about it. So that is kind of the update on what is going on with the button box right now. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this to the lower right, and we can continue with the actual drive portion. So let's do that now. Okay, so it is actually late in the day. It's 5 o'clock. I'm hoping to get a little bit of evening stuff going on. I wasn't planning on the rain, but I can get my wipers set up. Actually, I should have done this so I can turn my head and not have my track IR get in the way, get all this stuff out of the way. Yeah, like I said, we're in Nebraska. We are in Alliance at the Evergreen, and I've heard that this is the place where you can actually pick up and get some dynamic loading, and we're actually going to be getting a little under 40,000 pounds of potatoes for today. So we have Pizzster's 389. It's one of the only ones besides the 352 that I drove the other day, the first day 1.5 was released, that I have updated. I just haven't spent the time. It's not like every other truck isn't updated. It's just what I've been kind of working on. Going with Hell Creek Machinery and Equipment skin by Goggles 56. The engine in here is just, it's an N14, 525 horsepower, and it came with the Pizzster 389. Nothing really specific on that today. 15-speed RTO U-shaped pattern is what I'm going to be doing. And I think I'm actually going to change the camera around when I go to drive so that you can see me shifting through the gears. But Pizzster's Wilson is on the back here, and I actually have, if I can show it, let me go to this other view. And I actually did something custom with it for once. I've never really done it with this trailer, even though I've had it for a while. So got Freebird Transport put on it. This is kind of like a dark cherry red on the skin, so I just matched it the same on the side of the Wilson. So that is our setup for today. Let's go ahead and get everything picked up. Okay, we are going to back up basically to that silo right behind us. You see the lines on the ground. And so I just have to go ahead and back up to there. And then I believe it was kind of tight in there to actually pull in. So let's see if it takes it even if I back it in. Not firing right now. Mixing everything around, I may have knocked something loose. Alright, nah, I've got a whole box right now that's actually not working. None of the buttons on there, well, yeah, none of the buttons are working for this box. I went into the control panel and I got every single button to light up as if it's working, but for some reason when I go to, like, they're assigned within my keys, but for whatever reason, even though they're being acknowledged by the control panel, by my hardware, the game will not recognize these inputs right now. I don't even know if these are going to work. High beams work, so everything in this box works. Right now, nothing in this box, and for about 10 minutes last night, nothing in this box works. I don't know, it's kind of screwy, and it may have something to do with the update, because like I said, every other piece of software that I have hooked up to this, making everything work, is showing that everything is working, except within the game. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and get underway. There we go. So we're going to have to crank this over here. Make it in there. Hopefully they can take it in this way. I can't see anything. I really can't. I need to put in my mirror mod so that I can actually start to see something. You don't know how important that thing is until you're missing it. And actually, my window controls are on the same box that doesn't work right now, and I can't even get it to be reprogrammed by any other button right now. So it's just broken. Yay! Alright. Moment of truth, right? Let's go to the outside and let us start filling this thing up, right? Is that... I think we just hit enter. Let's go to another view. It should start filling up, I'm thinking. But let's go ahead and give it a shot. Oh. I have to turn the engine off. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. Are you kidding me? So I guess it just loaded it not dynamically. According to Pizzster, this Wilson trailer, which was updated about 15 minutes before I started this video, and deleted the old trailer, added the new one, bought the new trailer, it isn't working for me. So far, nothing that I have tried is working for me.
There are those who would like to see you fail in your journey. That's not going to happen online.
Yeah, Morgan.
Let's go.
It seems like some things are just kind of stacked against you sometimes. I'm feeling you. Alright, let's go ahead and get out of here. These buttons work yet? Nope. I don't even know how to get the windows down. What's going on? Did I hit something? Of course I hit something. Of course I hit something. Okay, that was user error. But I'm getting a little frustrated here. We might have to make this a short drive. This is going to be one of those drives, one of those videos where everything goes wrong, including my user error. And I can't do anything about the wipers, I don't think. Unless... Do I still have this hooked up? Well, wipers is set for it, but it will not acknowledge my instruction. So I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't like any of my inputs on my boxes or keyboard, even though I tested and verified everything right before I started this. It's just being... I've never had the game do this before, and like I said, I've verified that everything is working through the actual control panel. Yeah, don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. I need to sweep out a little bit so I don't take out that mailbox. So let's wait for this guy. And by the way, I apologize. I lied when I said that this is a 15-speed RTO, the U-shaped pattern. It is not. It is an RT, standard H pattern. As you see, we go to 4th there and 5th there, just like normal. So I hope you guys are having a good weekend. I popped on to Ride Along with Goggles live stream today, which is Saturday for me right now. Sunday when you see this. And had a good time. He took some drives throughout Nebraska. He had problems loading, trying to get a certain spot where he could get everything loaded and see the dynamic stuff as well. I've only seen the dynamic stuff been loaded once. I kind of feel like it's a fluke now. I've tried several times myself, and I saw Dan, Goggles, whoa, and here we go. Frames per second dropped to 17. And Dan was struggling with it too, and eventually I think he just gave up and they went to California. To see the checked out the Modesto area, since California rework is part of the 1.5 update, and I'm feeling like maybe going to California is the better bet rather than trying to. I mean, I've tried with 4 or 5 different trailers. I know for a fact that I was able to get it working with the Load King trailer and get dynamic. I think I hauled some grain. That worked the one time, and I've tried it with this. I've tried it with the Pizzster Timpty, which was updated, and I believe there was a mention of it earlier today, saying that we just have to make sure that we sell the old truck, remove the mod, get the update, and then buy the truck again within the game to make sure that everything is going okay. And I think it's kind of hit or miss when you actually get those prompts. I had one place that I know I've seen people actually be able to pick up dynamically, and it didn't offer me that space. It just didn't, and I was hauling, I think, corn. So it's kind of hit or miss right now. I'm sure they're going to have to work out all the quirks. I'm definitely getting a lot of bugs in terms of the graphics. I'm not running like a super souped up computer, but I do have a what do I have? I think I have a 3070 Ti NVIDIA or GeForce. So 3070 Ti, not bad. I'm running probably 80%. It should be just fine. And yet, even though I have it capped at 60 frames per second, it's got me down as far as 17 frames per second, and now I'm kind of hovering between 25 and 40. The screen looks blurry because I do not have the ability to turn the wipers on because it won't accept any inputs right now, and I'm already in 10th gear, so I can't do anything else about that. Part of the reason for that is the initial gear on here is I think it's 16.5 on this 15 speed, really meant for torque, not for a whole lot of speed. So I'm pretty much maxed out at about 55 miles an hour. I can push her a little bit, but then I got my RPMs around 1800, 1900 on a cruise. And although I can do that realistically because it's a simulator, I try to keep it a little bit realistic. So you can go outside and check it out. I believe I even had the tarp open. Maybe when you get the load, the tarp just automatically closes. Not that I would know, because we were not able to dynamically load with this thing. I'm gonna try it again. It looks like it's probably on my end though. Before I start going and blaming 1.5, and I'm sure as hell not blaming Pizzster. I'm sure that they've tested it very thoroughly. I think I'm gonna need to go in there and just go all the way back to the basics. Rip out this mod, rip out the Timpty, sell them, remove the mods, get the new one again, install them, buy the new ones, but close out Steam completely, open it up, maybe even do a restart on the computer, open up Steam again, verify the files, like the whole 9 yards. I want to leave no possibility that I made any sort of mistake before I go blaming anyone else but myself. But clearly I'm experimenting with the buttons. Get the Jake on. But I'm experimenting with that. 1.5 is dropping. We're messing with the dynamic loading and everything, and maybe it's just too much experimenting at one time. And of course there's, again, my user error. As we're driving through Nebraska in the early evening in the rain. I don't usually drive a whole lot on the outside. I like to get that perspective on the inside, but I'm actually not finding too much of a problem with it, considering I can't operate my windshield wipers right now, and at least I have a clear path and not just a blurry window. It wouldn't even look that bad if I could get the realistic rain mod going on, but when I throw it in, it does a crash to desktop. So this sounds like just a real bitter video because I'm pointing out all of these bad things. I'm really having a good time driving through Nebraska. My buttons have been working just fine up until I started recording. So I think it's just kind of a perfect mix, the perfect storm. Speaking of perfect storm, the rain stopped. There we go. Well, it's still going to be blurry for a little bit, I guess, or until I clear that off, which I can't because it won't recognize my stuff. I can't. I don't understand this. Look, my buttons are lighting up. Like things are working. I don't get it. I don't get it. Do I have too many things running? Is it just like it doesn't know what to do, so it's turning off one of my USB encoders? I have no idea. I mean, if that's the case, though, I wouldn't be getting the confirmation within the control panel hardware settings that when I press the buttons, they're lighting up. The game just doesn't like them and won't acknowledge them. I'm also, because I'm over my 5 device input, I'm actually running this top box off Joy to Key, and it's hit or miss. It shows that the buttons are working within control panel, and it shows, if you know Joy to Key, when you press the button, it flickers to confirm that that button is being pressed. I like that because it'll show you exactly where the button is. So both of those things work, but then when you go into the game, just the game by itself will not acknowledge those buttons, and it'll knock out the entire box. So that's kind of what is happening currently. See, I can get up to 60, but we're rocking almost 1900 RPMs. Yeah, we gotta slow to 50 anyway. Let's hit the Jake. That's kind of crazy when you have a transmission like this where your initial gear is 16. I mean, by the time I get into 7th gear, I think I'm only hitting 30 miles an hour. By the time I get up to 10th pretty much runs me from 45 up to 55 to 60. So it's crazy. I could be getting on the on-ramp of a freeway, just starting out my drive, and I'm getting on the freeway, shifting it into 8th gear in this 15 speed. And of course the 5, it's kind of like a 10 speed. I'm almost in 10th. The extra 5 gears are the low gears, which I absolutely don't need unless, I mean, I didn't even need that running 65,000 pounds. Didn't use any of those low gears. But it is a 525 horsepower engine too. Not focusing a whole lot on the engine and transmission, of course. We're just kind of checking out the scenes. We got to see a little bit of Nebraska, but we haven't done a night drive in a while either. We got a little bit of rain. We got this thing nice and lit up. I thought I had side lights on this thing. Maybe not. Maybe I skipped that part because I just kind of built it quick. There's no default, I believe, on the Wilson to have like a default set of lights on the sides. They just come with the 80 nodes and you have to fill them up. I like having the flexibility to do that, but Pizzster, please allow us to have like a default set See if I can flash this guy. Yep, there's the highlights. The high beams, those are working. Does my map zoom work? Yes, map zoom works. That's good. Go to the outside here. Beacons. Beacons are good. We already know the lights work. Jake works. Four ways. Hazards. Those are working. So everything in this box, this top box, is working good. And now that I got this figured out how to wire these push buttons, these LED push buttons, I'm really liking it. So I went from almost returning them to... We slowing down? Thought we were coming up to a turn. Now I think I'm going to keep them. They seem to be working all right. The only reason why they weren't working for a minute has nothing to do with the buttons. It has everything to do with the programming in the game, which is why I'll randomly, day by day, run out of... You know, won't be able to use that box. Then I won't be able to use that box the next day. So... I'll do some more testing and figure it out. Everyone's going through all the hiccups right now. I haven't hit once. I have not hit 60 frames per second. I'm up to 51 while it's dark in the middle of nowhere. I don't even think I can get 60. I haven't changed any of my settings, and I was running solid 60 frames per second the whole time in 1.49. But usually, that's kind of a theme. Once we go to the next version, it's going to take me, you know, probably 2-3 weeks, and I'll be running these horrible frames per second. I hope it doesn't affect the output of the original video. I did drop to 17 frames per second at one point, and if that's the case, it ends up putting a huge bit of stress on the CPU, and it affects the recording. And if it's choppy in one part of the recording, it pretty much blocks out for like the next half hour, and I have to scrap the entire video. If that happens, not that you're gonna know, you're just not gonna see this video because I'm not doing it again. There's too many things too many variables to work out. I need to do them one by one. I was surprised at first. I got 1.50 installed, working just fine, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. But then a part of me said, that was too easy. Now I'm running into all the snags as I experiment with them. The other thing is, I haven't even driven outside of Nebraska in 1.5. I'm trying to go around the whole state, check it out, see where we can get all the dynamic loading and stuff like that. And I've probably only made 3 or 4 drives since it's dropped, including the first video, or my last video when it first dropped, because I've just been doing all this maintenance, and I've had buttons not working and can't assign buttons, can't use them, graphics issues and stuff like that. So it's kind of sucks. I end up spending 20 minutes on a drive and then the next 3 hours doing maintenance to figure out why half the stuff that should be working isn't. And like, I know there's always, you always need to tweak things and stuff, but this is a major overhaul, and
Continue straight.
I know that I'm not the only one that's experiencing these things. According to Facebook, the Discords that I'm in, a lot of people are.
Keep right.
This is kind of driving them crazy too. Are we almost out of fuel? Oh wow, we are going to have to fast forward this video. All right. Well, I'd show you a little bit of the outside and meet you at the end, but it's dark out anyway. So let's go ahead and fast forward, and I will see you when we're offloading. Alright, we got about 15 minutes left. I've been riding behind this concrete truck for pretty much the entire time since I left you, and he's not
Keep
too
right.
quick.
And then turn right.
He seems to be busting away pretty good on the city streets, but he was going about 50 miles an hour on the highway.
Turn right.
So I'm kind of glad to be rid of that guy. Whoa, another... We got down to 12 frames per second again. This is ridiculous. I feel like I'm still rocking my NVIDIA 1080 graphics card. So far, Nebraska has
In 400
been
meters, turn left.
pretty frickin' hard on my system. Not just 1.5, maybe it's just Nebraska. Again, I haven't been outside of Nebraska yet in 1.5. And I've definitely had other states in the past, as soon as they come out, before they're fine-tuned and everything, I've definitely had them be difficult on my system. I think that's the way Texas was for like a solid month, if I remember correctly. So nothing new, nothing new. Here in Grand Island, dropping off at the Flavor Fair.
In 400 meters, turn right.
Will do, Morgan. Go ahead and get our...
Turn right.
I don't think we have any on the back here. Any beacons, just on the truck. Probably needed to take that a little bit wider. Get around that corner. That's pretty tight. That is pretty tight. That is for sure. I don't know if we need all these beacons going on. We could definitely use the four-ways. So where do they have us dropping off here? Oh, way over there. So this is like a new yard, I guess. I haven't seen anything just like this at the Smithfield here. Is it Smithfield is where we're dropping off? It says Flavor Fair. Maybe there's a whole bunch of businesses rolled up into one here. Or is Smithfield like the generic name and Flavor Fair is the company's, like the real company's name? I don't know. Because I have seen, as you saw in our last drive, there was an issue where it was sometimes showing Walbert on the map, but Walmart on the building itself. So anyway, let me figure out where we're going. Okay, I am kind of familiar with the back side of this building. It's just that a lot of the stuff around me here is new, where they have all this,
You've arrived. It's been my honor
all these dry vans.
to see you through this mission.
Thank you, Morgan. But once we get back here, you'll see something similar. It's got all the docks. Why they have me go into a dock, I have no idea. But it's got a bunch of the docks. Usually there's a lot more room to turn around, and there just isn't in this one. So hopefully we can make a U-turn. We'll just keep those beacons going. But I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Oh, 23 frames per second. Yeah. Computer does not like Nebraska or 1.5 or both. They got to iron out some of the details here because, like I said, I'm not running something super spec, but it shouldn't be getting, I shouldn't be getting below 60 frames per second, not with a 3070 Ti. Alright, so hopefully we have room to turn around here. Looks like we do. Usually we have a little bit more area, or this will, instead of this building right here, this will be a street. Since we're going in at an angle, might want to go ahead and check that right now and see what we're looking like. Oh, nope. Alright, I'm getting these beacons off. That's obnoxious. Alright, that should be pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit the horn, which I still have over on this other console. And we'll go ahead and back her up. I'm going to go ahead and do it in this. This is actually harder for me than being in the truck. Of course, I don't have that realistic mirror mod, so it's probably just as difficult inside, considering we're backing up on the blind side. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to pull up again, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up. Still need more practice backing up in this third person. Hey, there's a building. We're gonna go ahead and stop. Now, blindsiding I still need practice on too, but if I can see the left side of the trailer, then I'm pretty much golden, and being in the truck is easier than doing this view. There we go. That's close enough, and they will accept it. Following key to stop the engine. I guess I'll stop the engine. Let's go ahead and get the brakes on. Go ahead and stop that so I can move my head without it jostling you around. Let's go ahead and get rid of the four-ways. We'll change the lights to parking only. Windows are already up because I can't put them down. And I guess we'll get the engine off by hitting S. All these buttons, and so many of them are not working right now. It's kind of a shame. So I'm a little bit frustrated, and now I'm going to have to spend about 5 or 6 hours, because I can't let it go, after I edit this video, trying to troubleshoot all of this stuff, thinking that I probably did something wrong, and I'm not saying I didn't. But there's just been a lot of errors that haven't occurred on other versions of the game in states that I haven't been. I think I might be just chasing my tail here, and I think this might be a good time to focus a little bit more on the box and the buttons that I'm building, so long as I can test them, and not try to chase my tail, go down rabbit holes of fixing what's may not even be my issue. So I'll keep you guys updated on all that. But thanks for coming along on the drive, seeing a little bit more of Nebraska while the sun was up, but wanted to get a nice night drive. In, and what better with the Pizzster, all the lights on it, really like it, and of course the Wilson trailer that has been updated. So go ahead, most everything I believe is updated. Maybe not the 389 itself, but the 389 works fine. All the trailers are being updated right now. You can check over on Pizzster's site, and it usually says when the truck was, or when the trailer was last updated. But thanks for coming along on the drive. If you guys enjoyed it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you can see all of my videos, frustrating and happy ones. Yeah. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.